Hey everybody, blessings and welcome. In this video, I'm going to be discussing how to move forward when life is unfair. But before we get into our topic, subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. Also, share this video and be sure to hit that like button. Definitely hit that like button because it helps me out a bit. As always, I do appreciate your support of this channel. Now let's get into the topic of how to move forward when life is unfair. Yes, that's right. Life can sometimes be unfair, and actually sometimes life can be quite cruel. There are going to be times in our lives where we're going to suffer through pain. We're going to go through some injustices. We're going to get things in life that we absolutely, positively do not deserve. These things happen. So in this video, I just want to share with you 7 things to consider when you are in this position, because if you live long enough, it's going to happen. There's going to be a betrayal. You're going to be victimized in some way. And this is not, the most fun topic to talk about, but it's something that we should address because when things happen unexpectedly and when things happen that we don't think should happen, I think we need to have some things to be able to fall back on, have some things, some strategies, some ways to cope when it does happen. And that's the whole point and aim of this video. So hopefully what I share will be helpful to you, and you can go back and hopefully you don't have to go through these things often. I wish we didn't have to go through them at all, but these things happen in life. So there's 7 things I'm going to share with you. So let's get into it. So the first thing, if you go through something, if you go through some injustice or you're victimized in some way, I want you to know that life, number one, you need to understand that life isn't always fair. So that's the first thing that we need to consider. Life isn't always fair, and you can be the greatest person and have the biggest heart and be the most giving person and loving person, but sometimes things are going to happen to you that it's just not fair, and things that it's hard to explain, and things that you may not get the answer to, and even if you pray about it, it still might be a mystery sometimes. And even with prayer and knowing God, we're just not going to get the answers all the time, and things are just not going to be fair. And we need to come to that conclusion that we're going to go through things in life that's not going to be fair. And I think me personally, coming to that understanding has actually helped me when I have gone through things that were quite difficult and what I felt in my heart to be unfair to me, knowing and understanding that, yeah, that's a part of life. Unfairness. It's not great. It's not a pleasant thing to think of, but it's reality. So I think that's a good way to cope with the unfairness, understanding that unfairness is just a part of life. It's not right. Maybe you don't deserve it. Many times we don't deserve it, but it is what it is. So if we come to the understanding that life is not fair at times, it's actually a good coping strategy. I know it is for me. I don't know if it will be for you, but I know it has been for me. So we got to understand that sometimes these things happen. Number 2, don't let whatever happened to you, whatever injustice, whatever you've suffered, don't let that, whatever that circumstance was, whether you were a victim, don't let that define who you are. You are not what you went through. What you went through actually helped to make who you are, but it does not define who you are. That is not you. So don't look at yourself in terms of being a victim. Look at yourself in terms of you are a survivor, right? So we cannot allow the things that happen to us, the unfairness, the injustices, we cannot allow these things and these circumstances to define us, because we'll end up being a perpetual victim. We'll end up being basically bound to the person who did what they did to us, or bound to that circumstance. So we don't want to be defined by what happened to us. So don't let that define who you are, right? Look at yourself as an overcomer, because if you got through it and you were able to move forward, you are a survivor, right? But you cannot allow whatever happened to you define you. And that's one of the ways that we are able to move forward when life is unfair. Number 3, when life is unfair, we definitely have to, and we go through things, and when we suffer unjustly, when we suffer things and we just don't understand why we're going through certain things, whether it be a sickness or loss of loved one or whatever it is, it's very important that we reset our thinking. So that's number 3, reset your thinking. And think about what you're thinking about. And if there's a constant loop of the circumstance, or a constant loop of the trauma or whatever you've gone through, going on over and over again on replay in your mind, it may mean that it's time for you to get some help. It definitely means that you're going to have to come up with some sort of strategy to reset your thinking and to get your thoughts constantly, if your thoughts are constantly on that thing that happened to you, you have to come up with some sort of strategy to basically distract yourself and interrupt that pattern when you see that there's a pattern there. So that can mean replacing that thought with a positive thought that happened. That's a strategy that I use all the time when I find that there's a pattern going on in my brain and something is looping that's unpleasant. I interrupt it with a positive thought. It may mean seeking professional help if it gets really bad and you're not able to cope with it on your own, and you may need some extra strategies and some more tools to help you get through it and to help you heal. Definitely do that. But getting through and moving forward through unfairness, when you've suffered and gone through something, you definitely have to reset that thinking. You definitely have to work on your mind, and you definitely have to think about what you're thinking about, because that will help you get through it, and it's going to actually help you to heal. So you have to reset your thinking. And if you find that there's a loop going on in your head and there's rewind of what happened to you, you must interrupt that thought and break that pattern immediately, because it could destroy you. You don't want it to destroy you. So we don't want the unfairness in life. We don't want those things to bring us down and to actually render us useless, right? And helpless, right? So we want to definitely make sure that we reset our thinking. Number 4, when we go through unfairness and we suffer unfairness, right? We were passed over for something and overlooked for something, right? Something is just unfair, right? Or someone was chosen over us, whatever it is, right? Whatever the unfairness is, we have to make sure that we don't allow it to make us to be bitter people. Unfairness can turn you into a bitter person. You don't want to be that bitter person, because it hardens your soul. It hardens your heart, right? And it turns you into somebody that's you end up becoming unlike yourself, and you actually end up becoming another person if you allow bitterness to come into your soul and to settle and to fester there, right? So we want to, number 4, kill the bitterness that unfairness can bring with it. We want to kill it with gratitude. So that's how you kill and rid and purge the bitterness out of your life. When you feel it coming in your heart, you feel it coming in your mind, you feel it seizing your soul. What you want to do in that instant, be thankful and grateful, and start thanking God for your blessings. Start thinking about the things that are going good in your life. Start thinking about and just being grateful for all the things that you do have, and get your mind away from what happened, away from what you suffered, away from how you've been overlooked, away from what they did to you, and begin to be grateful for the things you have, even if it's the little things, the big things. Be grateful for the roof over your head, that you had a meal to eat, that you have clothes on your back. If you're working, if you have a job, if you have a loving family, the relationships that are working in your life, and even if it's unfair, if you've been through a divorce, or if you're a relationship, you thought it was going to be your forever love, and the person broke your heart, and it's unfair when these things happen. The person cheated on you, whatever it is. Think about the relationships that are working, the friendships, the relationship that you have with your extended family, your immediate family, your children, the relationships that are working, the relationships that are good, right? So you want to replace the bitterness and the anger with gratitude. And when you start being grateful, what gratitude does, it breaks up the bitterness. What gratitude does, it begins to purge and cleanse. Gratitude actually cleanses your soul. So definitely use gratitude. That's number 4. Number 5, be productive. And I say be productive in many of my videos because it's very, very helpful. When life is unfair, when you don't get what you want, when you get the things that you really feel you didn't deserve, that is a time to be productive, because being productive is actually a good distraction. And I'm not just saying being busy, because you could be busy doing nothing, right? And not be, but actually produce something, actually start creating something, especially if you're a creative person. When I feel like I'm going through a season and I've suffered some sort of injustice or unfairness, or someone's tried to make me their victim, and I'm going through a situation, I try to be as productive as possible. I get into my creative mode. I'll make some videos, I'll make some art, I'll do some writing, I'll do something or even some cooking, because I like to cook too. So I even do those things, and I'll just make sure that I'm productive in some way, or I'll mentor somebody, or I help somebody out, or counsel someone in some way. I'll just make sure that I'm productive and I'm being a blessing in some way. And that actually helps to take my mind off of what happened to me. It takes my mind off of, the injustice, and how whatever happened to me was so unfair, and it prevents me from throwing that pity party and feeling sorry for myself and being the perpetual victim, right? When I'm productive, what it does, I'm saying for me personally, it may be different for you, but I know that productivity definitely works. Number 6, have a plan. That's right, have a plan. So having a plan definitely helps when you've gone through something. It definitely helps when you've been through a rough spot in your life. When we have a plan, what the plan does, it gives us like a sense of control, right? So I'm writing down my plan, the things I want to accomplish, some goals and some dreams, and putting a deadline on it, right? To make sure that we, have our targets and that we meet our targets, right? So when you have a plan, the plan actually helps us to move forward. And actually having a plan in life helps us to overcome. Actually having a plan in life and planning things out, it does give us a measure of control, and it does say, and in spite of the unfairness that life can sometimes bring to our doorstep, hey, listen, I'm about to create some goodness. So what we're doing, we're being co-creators with God. We're creating something good. So when you have a plan, especially, it's positive things that you want to do, and you want to make a positive change in your life. What we're doing is that we are countering the unfairness, and we are creating the positivity that we want to see in our lives. So having a plan is very, very powerful. And if you're able to accomplish that plan and you're able to see it through, what's going to do is going to empower you. And what's going to happen? You're actually going to grow. These are the things that grow you up. So have a plan. And finally, number 7, continue to keep the faith and keep hope. Sometimes we suffer things and we go through things, and it just deflates us, and in little ways, takes away from us. And sometimes it even destroys parts of us, but we can heal and we can overcome. But we overcome by having faith and having trust in God. and believing, going back also to resetting our thinking and believing that things will get better, and it will. Just know that whatever you are going through, whatever you went through, that was temporary. It happened. It's time to move forward. You survived it. You got through it. You're amazing. Listen, just have faith and trust that God will continue to see you through, that things will get better. Have the hope that there are good things that are coming into your life, because it is. And when you have hope and when you have faith, regardless of what happens is, as we think on the positive things and as we keep our faith and as we have hope, more good things will begin to manifest and draw good things into our lives, right? Especially if you've been through a really long and hard, tough season and doesn't seem like things are really changing. Continue to keep faith, continue to keep the hope, continue to think positively, and you will begin to attract that into your life. So please don't give up, especially if you've gone through some sort of long season of suffering. Just remember that it's temporary and things are not going to always be this way, and that you can heal and you can move through it, and your life can and will improve. That's all I wanted to share with you in this video. Take care, God bless, and I will see you in the next one.